Call to order the meeting of December 4th, 2019, Frederick County Planning Commission. If you would, join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Our first item on our agenda is the adoption of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is our committee reports. I think we have just a few tonight. We do have one from Transportation Committee. Mr. Oates.
Yes, we met on November 25th. Had two items to discuss. One was the capital improvement plan update, the road plan. Just a few minor changes to it, and that should be going on to CPPC on Monday night, and I guess to us probably in January. And then the second item was a discussion of a truck restriction on Cedar Hill Road. That did not pass.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. And there's no other committee reports. We did not meet with DRC and CPPC. Next one would be Winchester Planning Liaison, Mr. Pfeiffer.
We just had 3 CUP requests during our work session. Just minor ones, short-term rental, front yard accessory structure, and also a conditional use permit for Winchester baseball, utilizing the blue and gray commercial space, and also going over the amendment to the ordinance for the small cell antennas.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to have you tonight. And I see no Board of Supervisor liaison here tonight, so we'll forego that one. And we'll move on to our citizen comment portion. And this is the portion of our meeting where we open it up to any citizens that like to comment on anything that's not on our agenda tonight. And so this time to come forward. Seeing no one, I'll close the citizen comment portion. And we'll keep moving right along, go right into our next item is a public hearing item. It's a rezoning number 04-19 for Perry Properties LLC in the Shawnee Ministerial District, identified by property ID number 64-A-158. Ms. Perkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. This is an application to rezone 6.18 acres of a 44.97 acre tract of land that is currently zoned M1 light industrial, and they are seeking to rezone it to the B2 business general district with proffers. Now, the subject property is located on the north side of Millwood Pike and the east side of Constitution. If I can direct you to the screen on your left. Now, the subject property is, is the large tract in blue, this piece right here, and then you have Millwood Pike that fronts the property. In this graphic from the applicant, as you can see, the subject rezoning is this front corner in the hatching. The site is located within the limits of the Cincinnati Eastern Urban Area Plan of the 2035 Comprehensive Plan. It's also within the sewer water service area. Now, the comprehensive plan identifies the property with an industrial land use designation. Now, in general, I would note the proposed commercial zoning is inconsistent with the current land use plan. However, considering the fact that the site is bordered by commercial zone property to the south and east, the requested commercial may be acceptable. Now, if I can again direct you to the screen on your left, this is from the Northeast Land Use Plan. And as you can see, a lot of the property surrounding this is comprehensively planned for commercial. The M1 was more than likely left acknowledging the existing zoning of the property. So with this request, the applicant has proffered a number of improvements to Constitution Boulevard and Route 50, including improvements to Constitution southbound travel lanes, dedication of right-of-way and easements, construction of a full commercial access on Constitution. There's a right-in, right-out proposed on Route 50, a right turn lane along Millwood between Constitution and 50, and a right-in, right-out on Route 50. There's also a right-of-way dedication on Route 50, and they're proposing a 10-foot asphalt path on both roadways. And just to summarize that long proffer, their transportation studies were based on 3,000 vehicle trips per day. They're proffering that when they have site plans come in, they'll determine the actual trip volume, and if any uses proposed go over that 3,000 cap, they will do a new traffic study, and they will do the improvements that are outlined in that study. They will also be responsible for the construction of improvements to the Millwood Pike Construction Drive intersection, serving the B2 portion of the property identified in the traffic study with each site plan. And then, not transportation related, but they are doing a landscape buffer along Route 50, a corridor enhancement, which, as you can see on the generalized development plan that's also in your agenda. They're proposing a 10-foot landscaped easement along the frontage that has trees and shrubs. And they also have a monetary contribution of 10 cents per building square foot for fire and rescue. And with that, following the public hearing, we are seeking a recommendation from the commission to forward to the board. I would be glad to answer any questions. Mr. Bishop is here if you have any questions about transportation, and Mr. Evan White is here on behalf of the application.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Any questions for Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Manuel.
Candace, in the Frederick Water letter dated August 14th, it said they had serious concerns about the Westview pump station, that it would need upgrades. Will that be addressed during this development of this site, or?
It would be addressed during the site plan.
Okay, all right. That's all I have.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Manuel. Any other questions? Thank you. Would the applicant like to come forward? Mr. White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Evan Wyatt with Greenway Engineering. I'm not going to revisit the items that Candace went through on the staff report, but obviously we spent a lot of time working with VDOT and county planning and county transportation to develop the proffers that they felt were acceptable for transportation mitigation. I believe, I think it was Mr. Manuel that asked the question about the Westview pump station. Candace is correct. Once a user comes in on the entire site or a portion of the site, based on the use and demand of that, we have to chase that and evaluate the pump stations and upgrade them accordingly to make sure they can transport the effluent.
All right, good.
If there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any other questions? Mr. White? I see a hand go up down here. Mr. Morrison?
Mr. White, this may be difficult to answer, but on your best guesses on this, from the change of zoning, what would be the impact on the number of employees one zoning versus the other may receive?
Well, it is kind of difficult to project. If you have a traditional M1 user that's a warehouse type use, it's going to have lower employees, but if you had an office use, it could be more employees. Conversely, with a B2, if you had a highway commercial use, it could have about the same number of employees as office or less, depending on what's there. So I think employment is really a difficult gauge. The area that we're proposing to rezone, if you refer to the aerial overlay, you can see that that's the portion that is adjacent to the transportation system that's recently been approved, the Navy Federal and VDOT worked on, and what was done for the FBI Center for Constitution. But also that's the area that is outside of the limits of where Winchester Building Supply and Perry Engineering operate on the remainder of the M1.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Seeing none? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
This item is a public hearing. At this time, I will open the public hearing. Anyone would like to come forward to speak on this matter? Please come forward, state your name and your magisterial district, please. Anyone? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Questions? Commissioners? Discussion? Hearing none. Shawnee District.
I believe this represents the highest and best use of the property. It's emerging commercial properties to the south and the east, and I think it's the best use for this property, and I support it. And I would move for approval of rezoning number 04-19.
Second.
I got a motion and a second, and I'll start down here. Ms. Dawson.
Dawson, yes.
Triplett, yes.
Morrison, yes.
Bolden, yes.
Thomas, yes.
Votes yes.
Klein, yes.
Manuel, yes.
Ambrogi, yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion carries. This goes to the Board of Supervisors for their January 8th meeting, and thank you. As we zip through this agenda tonight, we're up to the other part of our portion. The only announcement I have is our next meeting. We do have one for December 18th, unless Our secretary has anything to add?
No, we absolutely do, so we'll look forward to seeing you one more time before Christmas.
See nothing else on our agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.